Greetings, Hacksters! Another DEF CON conference has come and gone, and as it is also Wearables Month on Hackster, I figured it was a good time to talk about badges. I did not go to DEF CON this year. Maybe next year, it'd be nice. But we do have a bunch of badges from previous years, and I've been hacking on this, my favorite one, the Cardio, and I wanted to tell you a bit about that. But first, let's take a look at a bunch of ones from years past. So it's blurry because we're looking at the table, but this is the last DEF CON I went to. They had this cool quartz badge that flashed different LEDs through it and was very gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So a very sort of aesthetically focused badge. Then we've got like little computer ones, like this one from SuperCon a couple of years ago. We've got ones that are like cell phones. This is one from EMF Camp a few years ago. Wait, have I got it upside down? There's like this part, but I guess it would hang like this. And this one has some GPIO breakouts, which I love. It's got a speaker built in and a place for your name and a bunch of little directional joystick with a clicky antenna. Clicky stick, and a little dial thingamajig. Call and end buttons. Let's see. A previous CCCamp badge, the radio badge, was made for SDR, software-defined radio hacking, for a little audio out. You could put little LEDs along here if you wanted. All kinds of cool hacks with this one. Also has a bunch of GPIO out and in and out. A lot of these have huge batteries on them. And this is actually an interesting point, is that sometimes these are, sometimes there's ones that remain in circulation. Sometimes there's plenty of them and a robust market after the fact. The one I'm going to talk about today, unfortunately, is a little difficult to get a hold of, but I'll show you where you might have hope of finding one. It feels almost a little evil to do a tutorial about it, in fact, because it's so hard to get a hold of, but it's just beautiful. It's the best one, and I want to tell you why, so that maybe people will make more like that. So this is also a big part of badge life. The, pardon my French, the shitty add-on culture. Shitty add-ons are basically a way, or SAOs are a way to create smaller, simpler badges that attach onto larger ones. This is a larger badge that has the sole function of providing a spot to attach your SAOs, but it's amazing. And you can attach 3 different ones. You power it with batteries. For example, this one from Osh Park, from one of the Oshra years. Open Hardware Summit. This one from Twinkle Twinkie with the Cheshire Cat, which I love. Haha. They've also made a bunch of like Totoro ones and whatnot. And this is one that I designed and milled on a Bantam PCB mill a few years ago, which I'll show you the tutorial for that, but it just has a little like shine through LED on the companion cube. Anyway, and badges come in so very simple forms like these SAOs, or this one that's like a breakout for various SAOs. They can go very complex. We've done a lot of different features on badge art in the past. There's even a little prototyping add-on SAO prototyping board made by Osh Park, designed by Andronexor, and you can find the info for that online. The thing from DEF CON, so you would plug it in over there and then just prototype whatever. There's some that don't even really do much. This looks like a shine-through board, but it's solder masked all the way over, so you can't really shine through. But it's beautiful, isn't it? So shiny. And then, of course, I have to show off one of my perennial favorites. This is a piece of art by Diode Red, and it's just a large, beautiful lotus flower. I believe it's a lotus flower. With layers of copper and solder mask and silk screen that all combine to make this beautiful half-toned image. Again, fabricated by Osh Park, but so lovely. Anyway, a lot of us were sent to us by Drew Festini, who is a very big part of supporting this through his work at Osh Park. Much appreciated. Okay, so on to the Cardio badge. This thing originally came with a neoprene wristband, and it is designed, as the name suggests, with a couple of heartbeat sensors for sensing your heart rate. And there's these metal bands that help attach it to your skin or not attach it to, but like contact your skin, and that's how you do. I'll demo that application. Let's just do it right now. Actually, wake up. Boop. So we've got the power button / file navigator. We've got your select button, and then left or up and right or down. So I'm going to go down to ECG here, select it, and the metal bands are pushed against my wrist right now. It's a little hard to make it go, but let's see. And there we go. You'll see this number go up and down because of heart rate variability. It's probably going to be a little high right now because I'm streaming. But in general, when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up, and when you breathe out, your heart rate goes down a bit, and that's called your heart rate variability, and is sometimes used as a measure of certain types of cardiovascular health. But yeah, I just think this is so cool. I love it. And you've got these 11 RGB LEDs across the top here. Let's get out of there. And what else have we got? We've got 3 little rocket LEDs. I'm going to jump in pretty quickly here and show you all of these because I've written a series of commands that you can run over the REPL in order to show how each of these works and provide a guide for people writing their own apps for this. And then also I want to show you this quantum filament PLA printed cuff that I designed a while ago because I wanted something that would allow me to wear it easily while not obscuring those metal bands on the back for grounding. And it just clips on like that, and you can download it and print your own or modify it to your own size and stuff like that. Yeah, there's optical. I think there's an optical sensor in the middle here, and then there's also electrical sensors. So I think there's both, but there isn't necessarily software for all of those yet. So we'll get there. So first, let's take a look at our websites here. Oh yeah, if you go on Twitter, of course, you can find a bunch of people talking about the new DEF CON badge, which is this synthesizer. Looks very cool. Somebody playing Zelda's Lullaby. And as with most DEF CON badges, I believe that it has puzzles embedded in it. So here's some important notes on it. You gotta be careful with them because apparently there's some potential for very speedy self-disassembly with these badges. Wow. But be careful. Also, this really cute little Easter egg on the PCB silk screen. I think that's really cute. The Card10 itself, I've put the link in the description so you can go find the main page for this. This is where you're going to find all the information that exists on the internet. And as you can see, this badge was released in 2019, but they're still updating the firmware and stuff like that. And you can find online hangouts that people are doing in order to continue work on it. So I really hope that part of this is my like cry into the ether to be like, someone adopt this badge, someone bring it back, because it's the best thing ever. It's one of my favorite wearable badges ever. This and the light blue bean are just like out there waiting to be resurrected, and maybe I'll be that person someday. But for now, you can find information on getting started if you have one. First, interactions. Interactions is what they call the apps for these, and we're going to go through how to write your first interaction. And I'm hoping that this will be generalizable beyond just the Card10 because there's a whole ecosystem of in the hatchery of different badges. So if you have any of these other ones as well from OHS 2018, from well, may contain hackers 2021 apparently has their own site, and then the one from 2022 that just happened, they also have their own spot in the hatchery, and there's like huge huge red text notices about it on the site, but you can choose whichever badge you have on here. One's from Shaw 2017, and yeah, all kinds of different ones that you can grab code from. So if you have any of those badges, you have a place to go to look for apps, which is super cool. There's a main page for CCCamp 2019. CCCamp is short for Chaos Communication Camp, which is the camp outdoor version of Chaos Communication Congress. The Congress happens every winter, and the camp happens every 4 years. let's get this a little bit more. There we go. Beautiful. The cardio badge has its own Twitter. You can find our previous feature of the cardio badge, but this was just me being like, this is a cool thing, you should look at it, from August 2018, when I hadn't really had a chance to really play with it yet. And you can see that original neoprene wristband, and I'll talk about why I chose to replace it with this. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's partly because of style, and it's partly because when you have neoprene as the wristband, it's sort of these metal bands on the back that are creating the contact with your skin sort of dig into the neoprene and make it so that they're sort of, they're lifted away from your skin, which is suboptimal. I'm going to show you some of my favorite apps as well, just to keep the interest high. Let's use this one. This is Control Center. It's adapted from a previous one with the American Center spelling of center by Nicholas Roy. I forget the name of the person who made this version, but we'll look it up later. But look at this. One cool thing about it, it's got a little compass, which actually is kind of functional. It's kind of having trouble right now. But yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. And let's get back. So here's our previous video on it. This is probably your best chance at getting your hands on one of these. There's a community. If people are getting rid of one, they might post there, or you could post there looking for, just asking around. And then here is my tutorial from today, which is also linked in the description below, where I talk about you can get the files for the 3D printed cuff. You can modify it yourself using this Onshape document link. Might have been a mistake to click on that. It's going to take a second to load, but yeah. And you have variables for sticking in your own wrist. Oh, this is the one I didn't edit. I'll have to change that. There's one where I've put very explicitly the variables for your wrist width and height. But let's go back to the tutorial. So, the cardio badge. Let's look at how you write apps for this. There's a really good set of documentation for this, both on the cardio.badge.events.ccc.e page, DE page, and you can see the diagram of the buttons there, and like how to power it on and stuff, and how to, for example, upload apps onto it. There's considerations before you write your own app. For example, there is did I mention it here? There are certain functions that were already embedded in the firmware of the badge that, for example, allow people to set their personal state, which includes like, I want to interact with people, I don't want to interact with people. So like being aware of that when you write these, for example. And then there's also really in-depth Python documentation with all the different commands that you can use, and also the colors. And I've linked in this tutorial to some of my favorite ones. So in the quick reference section near the bottom, this one is really useful for me, the LED color constants reference. You don't always have to work in, you can work in RGB or HSB, but you can also use these color constants. And there's some that are specific to camp, chaos blue, communication yellow, camp green, love it. And then some more general color constants that you can check out. So yeah, there's two different ways to sort of interact with this badge. Well, okay, there's three different ways to interact with the badge. One of them has to do with plugging it in over USB. So I'm going to plug it in over USB-C now. Take it off my wrist first. Here we go. And this is how you charge it. It'll give you a horrible little vibrating notice if you're low on battery, which I kind of hate, honestly, because yeah, it'll also do that if you plug it in when it's been dead, and then it's like, ah, and I'm like, why are you angry at me? I just plugged you in. I know you're low battery, but you're going up. Anyway, plugging it over USB is a very easy way to get started talking to your cardio badge, which you can do either in the terminal over the REPL, the read, evaluate, print loop, or you can do it use it as a USB flash storage device and just drag and drop files onto there, which is what you would do with apps that you download from the Hatchery, or if you've written your own app and you just want to download it onto there. There is also an app which you can use to talk to it over Bluetooth and load apps that way. I've never tried that. I'm more comfortable with the everyday wizardry of using a USB-C cable, but so we're going to do that. And yeah, so I teach you how to do both of those in this. So in the REPL, I'm going to, let me see if I can pull these both up at the same time. But I'm going to open up iTerm, and I might have to close out this particular one and in order to share a different screen. So let's pull this up. Screen, share screen. Now we're going to go into our shell. So first thing I'm going to do is going to go stuff.py.star. Oops, I think it's /star. Nope, /TI.star. There we go. Oh my gosh. This is in the tutorial. I'm kind of a software noob. Are you serious? I think I left out a slash. I clearly don't have this memorized yet. I'm just gonna copy it. /dev/tty.star. There we go. This is why I wrote a tutorial, because I always have to look this stuff up every time I do it. And if I have all my personal notes in one place, it's gonna be a lot easier. Okay, so this is how we're finding the port. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to start a screen session talking to it. Screen, that port, and then 115.200. I'm not even going to look at the comments because I'm sure everyone's laughing at me. It's fine. Okay, so I hit Control C to get out of that weird black screen that it dumps me into, and now I have a REPL. I can talk to it over USB. And in the tutorial, I probably should have showed you this first, but in the code section, I have an entire set of just like a series of commands to run over the REPL to get yourself familiar with different libraries that are available and different commands to use based on those. So first up, we're going to import the LED library. And then we're going to set the rocket. So there's these 3 rocket LEDs, right? On the over here on the left, there's one, and that's number 0, number 1, and number 2. I believe it's yellow, blue, green. And we're going to start by making one of those go. So I'm going to set rocket 0. LEDs.set rocket. Double checking my spelling here. Rocket 0 to brightness 31. And each of these is just a single color. So now you can see that this first one has turned on. Oh, the first one is blue. The second one is yellow. Cool. And then our next live realness, yes. Our next command is to turn the second one on. So I'm going to just hit up to get that same command again. And now we have both of them on. Maybe I can set this on something so that you can see both of them close up. That'd be nice. Let's see. You get to look at my little power and heat shrink containers and stuff. Okay, so there we have those 2 ones on, and now I'm going to, what did I decide the next good thing was? Turn the first one off, so just turn that to 0 brightness, and now the second one has turned off, and now I'm going to do a little blink code. So they have a flash command, and one interesting thing here is that the flash command, if it basically turns on your selected LED for a certain amount of time, and if it's already on, then it'll turn it off after that anyway. So here the first one's gonna, or the middle one's gonna go on for a second and then turn off again. And if we run it on the first one, which is already on, LED 0, it's gonna flash at half brightness and then turn off. So this is again uses that brightness command, or parameter rather. We're feeding it which rocket, so far that's 0 and 1. the brightness, which so far has been 0, 15, or 31, so off half brightness and full brightness. And then in the flash rocket command, we have the duration of the flash to turn it on for. Let's go on. And I think then, so there's a fun rainbow command, which, let's see why I say that. And they have I think it stands for like gamma adjustment assistant or something like that. But just so you know, it is made by, the badge is made and written by a bunch of people who are queer friendly and allies and stuff. So either queer themselves or allies. So this is not something that's bashing on anybody. It is a statement of excitement. And then this is going to get really bright for a second. So there's levels 1 through 8 of brightness on these, and ordinarily it's at brightness 1 if you put a 1 in that previous command. You can also put decimal values there, but then when you're dimming the whole set of LEDs, you have values up to 8, which gets incredibly bright. Let's just do that for a second. Woo! You can't see, but it's blinding. And then you can say LEDs.clear to turn them all off. Now we're going to play with color for a minute. So we're going to import the color library. Let me make this a little shorter so we can see everything. Is that going to work? Hopefully. And now we get to set all the colors. So LEDs.set all. There's going to be some comments included in here. And that basically allows us to set all the colors to a sequence that is defined. The weird thing here is that the LEDs are defined from the right to the left. So this is LED 0, and this is LED like 5, and this is LED 10. So there's 11 LEDs up here. And yeah, it's very strange, but that's how it works. You know, it's cool. And then there's also 4 LEDs underneath on the bottom, mounted on the bottom of the top board here. So we're going to look at those in a second. So that's LEDs 0 through 10, and then 11, 12, 13, and 14 are on the bottom of these corners here under the board. And then you also have the rockets. So I wanted to show you all of those. So next up, we're going to clear them all again. And then here, I wrote one that gives you all of the colors, or all of the LEDs each have a color. So you can see that in the little corners here now, there are also colors. Maybe I can dim the top ones. Let's see. I remember having some issues before when I was trying to dim these top ones even further when they, let's see, 5? Will you take that? No, you don't like it. What if I say 1? There we go. Okay, cool. So that's a little more chill, and you can maybe see some of these LEDs on the side corners. See that? And now we're going to use a different method to update some of those. Unless I skipped something. Nope. Cool. So there's another way of updating the LEDs that is a little bit lighter on the system. And so now I'm prepping the system with this. There we go. To turn the 2 top left LEDs, the leftmost one in this row and the top left one under the corner here, both to blue. But notice how those are both still red. That is because we're just prepping them. And now we're going to run LEDs.update, and it will run those updates all at once. And this is a little bit of a lighter way to them. So they're blue. Yeah, so that's the little REPL sequence that I wrote. And I'm going to turn those off again. LEDs.clear. Okay, so everything's off again. And I'm not going to go into the flash storage mode, but I'll show you how. You can just go straight to USB storage in the menu, and that will allow you to put it in flash storage mode, which enables you to upload apps. You just drag and drop them into the file system that appears. It appears like a USB flash drive, and there's an app folder and you drop your downloaded, unzipped, unarchived apps into the apps folder, and that's then it'll restart when you eject the disk, and you'll have your new apps available, which is very lovely. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you, which is the Pomodoro app that I wrote for this. So you can use this as a reference. It's in the hatchery. Let's see, somewhere in here. I was looking at Control Center. As I said, there's this huge, huge red notice on all of these. This is the ECG one, which I've also linked in the tutorial. And then here is my Pomodoro one, which you can grab. It's, I think, the only one for cardio marked Pomodoro. But just so you know, in the tutorial, there are both the original Pomodoro one and the test app, which I'm going to show you now. In order to create your own app, there's also a couple of extra files that you need. You need your init.py file, which is the one that's going to have the code. And there's a JSON file that tells the watch how to run your file, like what it's called and like how to find it and stuff, and a little bit of information about it. And then you can also add in your app a README file and an icon file, but those aren't necessary. It's just that, like, if you want to take either of these apps, I recommend instead downloading them because they have that JSON file already in them. Yeah. So let's go look at the test file. And I am certain, being a little bit of a software noob, that this is not the best way to code this app. But part of the delight of working with hardware is that whenever you're building something, you are also exploring new ways to build things. It's very meta. So each of my projects is both a project in itself and an enabler for other projects. So as you can see, it's turned on the blue rocket, and it's turning these on one by one. A Pomodoro timer basically times 25 minutes for you to be productive, and then 5 minutes of rest. And so I've kept the blue LED at the end here, and we're counting up the second set of 10 minutes. And now there's a blue and yellow LED at the start, a little hard to see. I'm gonna run that again because it's kind of explaining at the same time. But the test app, again, so you get 25 minutes of productivity and then 5 minutes of rest. And this is sped up 60 times so that, like, each second that one of these LEDs advances would be a minute normally. And we count up 10 minutes in blue, and then 10 minutes in yellow, and then 5 minutes in green, and then you get a rainbow rest period. And since there's 11 LEDs, I keep a little sort of breadcrumb LED each time 10 minutes elapses. So that's 10 blue LEDs, one of them stays. You get to count up 10 yellow LEDs with the yellow rocket showing you that you're in the second phase. And then you get to count up third phase, 5 green LEDs for 25 minutes total, and then party time. So yeah, that's a very simple little Pomodoro app. You can get it from the hatchery, the real version, not the test version. The test version you can get from the tutorial that I've linked in the description, and you can also get this 3D printed cuff. I want to point out again that it is Wearables month on Hackster. I'm going to pull that up for you in just a second. But we've got all kinds of cool stuff going on for this month. Oh, it's so exciting. Including, badge life stuff, but also all kinds of different features. We've got interviews. We're actually going to have a very exciting new video format that I'm excited to share with you. Lots of stuff about wearables. And if you even go on the main page, you're going to see a lot of focus on that. And then next month, there'll be a different focus. We've already done drone month. We've done retro tech and gaming month. You might have noticed last month. We've got art month coming up. We've got 3D printing month coming up. We've got space month coming up. All these exciting things. So stay tuned for all of those. But yeah, you can see these cool things people are coming up with. Kevin Bates made these amazing Ardu glasses. I love this. And then also I'm going to be featuring some more of the ones that I have come across, including we've got like Open Smartwatch, we've got the Sensor Watch. I'm going to be talking a little bit about. This This is Joey Castillo's update for the Casio F91, which this, believe it or not, this is a custom board that has been stuck inside of here. The LCD is original, but the board powering it is a new one that enables you to expand it with little tiny flex cables holding whatever kind of sensor you want, or just use the watch faces that are already being created by the community, and you can, for example, figure out where Mars is at any time of the day, or use swatch beat time or things like that. And I'm going to be writing some code for that one as well. We've got Kitty Young's Bluetooth LED brooches. These are so cool. All kinds of cool stuff coming up for you this wearables month. But I think that there was more stuff I wanted to show you. There's a really good TLDR page linking you to a bunch of stuff. This is really cool. More SAO stuff. So the Flipper Zero is a really interesting little gadget that I'd love to get my hands on. And there's a breakout for it for SAOs. Oh yeah, you can find my tutorial for designing an SAO in KiCad. This one was, again, milled out with a Bantam mill. We have our whole... So there's a wearable tech community. With punch-activated arm flamethrowers and stuff. This cool third eye thing, which looks amazing to me. Look at this. Look at these sonars all over your eyes. Amazing. And then there's also, specifically, if you're into badge life, there is a whole section for that, including like the blockchain badge, which I think deserves more love, for Blockchain Village, DEF CON 29. Beautiful. Oh, badge life stuff. And there was another one. Where did it go? Oh, and of course the Hackster badge. There's a couple of different badges that people have made with the Hackster logo, and we always love it when people do more of them. In fact, I forgot to grab one in particular. Let me show you the one that I made earlier this year because it's fun. So I've been meaning to do an update to this, but this one in particular sort of embodies my own personal ethos with badges, which is that they should be multifunctional and still work even if they don't work. So this is a useful badge, even if for some reason this LED blinky circuit were to not work, which it does. You could still wear it as a little earring. You could use it as a chip clip or a bookmark. You could use it to hold razor blades for breaking down cardboard boxes for recycling stuff. It's basically designed to be a sort of catch-all, useful little PCB, both in its physical and mechanical design, and also a little cool piece of branding. So hit me up if you're interested. Like, what colors would you like to see this in, by the way? I've been wanting to do like an aluminum version for winter, but I think we could do a lot with this design, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. So anyway, yeah. Have you consulted with Elon about the rockets? You know, I kind of feel like this community may not be generally as much of Elon fans, but you know, it's open source. He could do whatever he wants with it. Ooh, this reminds me of the Pine Time smartwatch. I'm very curious about that because I would love to see anything that resembles this that is easier to get your hands on. So Pine Time smartwatch. This is the second time that I've gotten really into something, and it turns out that there's like a Pine 6. I'm assuming that it has something to do with the Pine 64 system, and there's like an equivalent that is more accessible. So, for example, the TS80 soldering iron is a really wonderful soldering iron made by Miniwave. I think their name is Miniwave. And there's an equivalent called the Pine Sill that takes the same soldering iron tips, but it's much cheaper, and it's open source, and you can program it. And it's very cool. But so if this is like a similar thing, yeah, it's a Pine 64 thing. Pine Time smartwatch. Sealed. I have to say this doesn't quite cater to my aesthetic personally as much, but it's probably a lot more functional and also actually obtainium, so that's good. $25, that's not bad. $27 technically, I guess. Doing development on a sealed device is more difficult, mostly because there's no access to the low-level debug interface that allows you to recover from mistakes. Read the wiki, join the chat, if you have more questions about the limitations imposed. Really, the takeaway message from this entire video is that, like, if you want to get your hands on a cool watch, if you want to get involved in this community, any of that stuff, get involved. Get on the IRC, get on, join one of they call them workouts, the like working sessions for the CCC cardio badge. It's still going strong, and someone needs to pick it up, and you could just jump in on that community and get involved. Or if you manage to get hold of one, you can get some tips on setting that up. Aluminum is probably only single layer, right? Yes. You know, I think they can do both sides. I could be wrong. I thought they had like some masking capabilities, but with this badge, actually, the whole thing is only on one side. So most of this is just aesthetics. This is only copper or ENIG coated copper because I think it looks cool. This side is not functional at all. This side has the little LED circuit on it with the little switch and whatnot. You gotta have a switch with wearables, I think. This has a power button, but yeah. And Tariq says red, black, and orange. I love that. So what could we do with that? Maybe like a black core with like red solder mask and orange something. Maybe like gold and red and black would be cool for like Halloween or something. Or orange and black and gold. I love that idea. Yep. Hackable. It's true. And yeah, the pine seal I think is supposed to be a good option for that. So yeah, I will be checking this out. Honestly, like, I think the sensor watch and the cardio are like my two aesthetic crushes. Where did that sensor watch go? Doesn't matter. I'll be doing a follow-up video on it anyway, when I actually get an app running on this one. And both of these, I think, are wonderful ways to dive into programming and learning how to write, in this case, Python, just through the wonder of exploring wearable technology. Thank you for joining, as always. This has been a tech highlight on your Hackster channel. Be sure to subscribe, of course, and hit the little notification bell in order to get notified when we post new stuff, because I do sometimes broadcast at weird times of day, but it's usually interesting to me. And we have lots of really cool Hackster Cafe interviews as well, especially some really cool ones coming up. Tomorrow is going to be Dr. Carlotta A. Berry, aka Noir Steminist, who's a really cool person teaching robotics in lots of cool ways and supporting diversity across the industry. And yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up for you, so be sure to subscribe. That's my little spiel. Thank you for joining, and as always, hack on.